unfortunate, and I know you don't have much time left, man. But I want to thank you specifically for that report about Nancy Pelosi, because oh my goodness. Speaking of her yesterday, we all know about her comments about George Floyd sacrificing herself, praying to God or thanking
Oh my
God for that.
God.
What a freaking mess. Your
Yeah.
report just talking about her and her husband investing into Microsoft and her being worth over $100 million as a politician is, for one, terrible, and but for two, that's a huge report. I don't know if you have time to say anything about it, but
Yeah.
could you just break that down really quick?
Sure. I got a few minutes, man. I'm not up against it too hard. So I mean, it's basically it's a track record thing again with Nancy Pelosi. I wasn't expecting this to be such a major story, to be quite honest with you, because I've reported things about her like this before numerous times. Going back as far as her initial financial disclosures. She's got like 25 million in, like, I think it was Apple, five, like a whole bunch of Amazon, whole bunch of Microsoft. So the investment in Microsoft itself isn't necessarily new, or at least her investing in Microsoft isn't a new thing. She's done it in the past, and she probably was already sitting on a ton of Microsoft when she made the new purchase, which was up to $10 million worth. And this happened, like I mentioned, a couple of weeks after uh, she, or her committee, I should say. I don't know how much her herself had it, but she chairs a committee that stripped the amendment about putting all congressmen and women's assets in blind trust. And then a couple of weeks later, she discloses this massive purchase in Microsoft. Or she doesn't disclose, I'm sorry. And a couple of weeks later, she makes the massive purchase in Microsoft. A couple of weeks later, Microsoft is announced to have a $22 billion contract with the Pentagon, which makes, of course, Microsoft stock jump up a little bit. It's already like a massive share price, so like 1.7%, but 1.7% of $230. I mean, $2.30 in a day for a share. If you've got like 100,000 shares, I mean, you do the math. You just made a killing. Or like 10,000 shares, you just made a killing. So I mean, and since the purchase was made, the share price of Microsoft has gone up around like 25 to $30 per share. So she's already made a killing on this. But again, she did that. She has perfect timing. It's a history of perfect timing with Pelosi and stock trade, because not only the Microsoft thing. Let's rewind a little bit, and we can see that she bought a little bit of Tesla before Joe Biden announced his big his big electric vehicle
She
plan
literally has no
and
shame
stuff like
about
that.
it either.
No, she's right in everybody's face about it. And then she, going back, she bought in the CrowdStrike. She's brought in the Salesforce, who was a company that actively lobbies her. I mean, and she's made a ton of money. So what people want to know how she made, I think I saw, or was I read, I can't exactly remember. I think it was Franco that read this to me yesterday from some article. It was her in 2008. Her net worth was $38 million. And in 2018, it's up to $114 million. That's like a $70 million jump, or almost an $80 million jump in 10 years. And as a politician, people ask how she does it. That's how.
Yeah.
It's legalized insider trading.
And you and me do that, we end up going to jail. We end up going to white collar jail for the rest of our lives.
Absolutely.
She gets to do it indiscriminately, and doesn't deal with any type of backlash. Only thing she has to deal with is just being an unpopular politician. People like you and I understanding that she's very, very corrupt, very, very dumb. Should be nowhere close to politics. Because again, like you said, man, if you're going to be a public servant, you shouldn't be worried about making hundreds of millions of dollars. You shouldn't be worried about your 15 fridges carrying all your ice cream like she is. It's ridiculous, and it's terrible, man. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I'm tired of it too. It's completely ridiculous, and it happens, and it's not even an open secret. It's something that's been shouted from the rooftops for years now. But and Pelosi herself does not care. I mean, because I've also done reporting, and I'm not the only one. Even though, like, I found one of the three companies that she has investment stakes in that took PPP money. Like, she has businesses taking paycheck protection program.
Her
Yeah, I
husband
mean,
too.
yeah, or well, her husband. I mean, a lot of these are in both their names, but it's also like, I mean, Nancy Pelosi does not care. because she has been quoted in the past, while she wasn't specifically referencing bad PR like she gets from stories like this, she doesn't care what some pipsqueak reporter on Twitter that's not even got a blue check has to say about her at all. But she referenced whenever there was a little behind the scenes report about maybe some friction between her and AOC a couple of years ago. She said basically she can attack me, and she's referencing AOC here, but Nancy Pelosi said she can attack me all she wants because every time she does, I get more money in donations. So
That's all
that's
they
what
care
Nancy,
about too. At the
that's
end of the
all she
day,
cares about, and she's very clear about it. Any publicity is good publicity to Nancy Pelosi, and she's going, and she doesn't care because she's gonna win either way. And yeah, man, real quick, by the way, yeah, I was about to go live with Nico yesterday when that video of her came out, and I can't believe like we did a disservice to the show we did without, because we got so far into discussion we completely had forgotten about the video.
right.
But what a terrible thing to say. Like, honestly, what a tone deaf and terrible thing to say. I mean, a sacrifice, really?
Not only a sacrifice, but looking to the sky, like thanking
Yeah,
God
yes. And I
for
mentioned
that.
that. I was like, she's looking at the sky when she's saying this shit. I mean, it made my skin crawl watching it, because it's like, for one thing, all you're doing is pandering, for one thing, which is sick enough.
Not even their
But
first time doing it either.
oh, absolutely not. I mean, the kente cloth and
Yep.
come on. I mean, but also, but seriously, when you say sacrifice, that implies that the person like made a choice to put their lives up for the. That is not at all what happened. George Floyd did not want to die that day. I mean, he was crying for his mother. So yeah, what a terrible fucking thing to say. And it's like, it's sick, dude. Really, like, just say that you think that the verdict was correct, but nobody wants to hear from you. You're Nancy Pelosi, like, on yesterday
Deeply,
of all
deeply
days.
unpopular.
But yesterday of all days, it's not Nancy Pelosi day. Like, nobody wants to hear from Nancy about this, right? She's the last person people want to hear from about this. And it's just, again, another link in the chain. She's showing you who she is. These politicians are showing you who they are. All they care about is pandering for votes. George Floyd was nothing but a fundraising drive for them. It's sick. That's why you can't trust any of these people, man. I swear. So yeah, I mean, I shook my head at that in disbelief. And I mean, I've seen Nancy Pelosi say some pretty god awful shit. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, that, I mean, and I honestly can't even be surprised because of, again, you mentioned the fact that she was walking around kneeling in kente cloth last year. She was pressed to even say, oh, on CNN, she said, oh, you know what, we're feeding our constituents, we're taking care of them.
Yeah.
And I can go look at your city, and I know for a fact that homelessness is a huge issue. You have the tech industry over there just taking all the land, raising the prices. It's no wonder why people can't, survive over there. And I'm sure it's because, and she's okay with it, and I'm sure she's okay with it because of the fact that, like, she's getting money from a lot of these companies. I know she invested in the ABC. I mean, not ABC, but Google and Alphabet. So of course she's gonna be okay with it, and she doesn't care about us at all. None of these people do.
Look, man, yeah, because dude, it's a class. It's class warfare. The rich want to keep you poor. They keep you poor. They keep you hungry. They keep you fighting for scraps. And they get to sit at the table and drink and eat and do whatever they want. It's and it enables that, because the longer we're down here concerned with just meeting bare minimum needs, the less time we have to focus on the people that are putting their boots down, on you, or the Derek Chauvins of the world. It's a sick thing, because, like, quite honestly, like, I heard a stat yesterday that said, like, Chauvin was like the 7th officer to be convicted of something like
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
Like
Out of a couple
1,500
thousand
cases.
That's ridiculous.
Or something like crazy like that.
And I think he's the second. I think he's the
it's
second police officer within a decade to get convicted too, because there was I believe he was a black police officer who got convicted for killing a European white woman just a couple of years ago.
So while we say that, while the verdict yesterday was 100% the right one, obviously that was a slam dunk case. I don't see how anybody else watching it could have thought any different without having to actually reach and making huge excuses. I mean, that was
Right.
just, but the fact that, I mean, was justice served in this one case? I mean, I think we got a step closer. It's hard for me to use the word justice when somebody's life was lost or taken, not just lost, it was taken. And somebody else is still, the person that did that still roaming around. Now that sounds callous of me, but that's not an even trade. So it's kind of hard to say that is justice. I mean, look, and then when you see the stats, like it was only seventh time out of 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever it was. We're not anywhere really closer to large scale change after this. I think because wasn't there like a story that broke while they were reading the verdict?
Yeah, Micaiah Bryant, a 15-year-old girl.
Oh, yes, right. Bryant. I knew the first name. I couldn't off the top of my head. Micaiah Bryant. Yeah, 15 years old. So are we any closer to, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough situation. It's a sad situation. And, honestly, sometimes you look at it and it's like, what do you do? And we tried everything, from, like they said, Kaepernick kneeled. They told him to, not now. So everybody stopped kneeling and went to the streets. And then they said, well, that's not right neither. I mean, what is the right way to go about making this change? Like because I mean, it's been, the reason why it's gotten here is because they've let this happen for so freaking long with no consequences. And it's a boiling pot. I mean, eventually, yeah, you're going to have, I mean, you can only oppress people for so long before they rise up against you. It's the cycle of history. Every revolution, I mean, the French Revolution started because the only thing they had left to eat was the rich. And, that's how all these movements started. You push people to the point of absolute desperation. Then yeah, they're going to shut your whole shit. They're going to shut the shit down because, look, the American citizens have already shown that if we decide to take to the streets, this whole thing we call society only moves because we allow it to. Anytime we decide to not partake in society anymore, they have to shut down the stock market and everything else because we really do have power. They just don't want us to exercise it.
It's time that we understand that again. When you, and my partner Pedro said it last week and he said it yesterday, when you destroy people's pockets, when you affect their pockets, you affect the bottom line, you say you're not making any money today, that's when they have to listen. When you continue to force public pressure, that's when they listen. We can't just stop because of what happened yesterday.
No,
it has to keep on going. We have to, AOC once said, right, you got to make him feel the ruckus, right? Well, that's what we got to do moving forward, because otherwise they're not going to listen. They don't care. They think that we're going to stop because of one case. No, we're not going to stop. We can't stop.
That's the thing too.
MCSC isn't going to stop.
They may think that the powers that be, I would say, might be feeling pretty comfortable today, because of the verdict yesterday. They might think that they have soothed the angry masses, as they might think, the citizens to be. But don't let that be the case. Like, I'm 100% with you. Like, this is not over. The movement for reform, and not just like reform, like the entire conversation of reform, right? This is just getting started. The pressure, we've seen pressure work, but you have to keep applying it because you can't let them think they won. Like, well, I got to win today. It's just not the case. So, just keep it up. We got to keep it up for sure.
Yes, sir. Robbie, man, thank you so much for your time. It's been a great discussion. Once again, you guys follow Robbie on Twitter. Go ahead and plug your socials in, man.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter and Rockfin. I do my articles on Rockfin. I talk my shit and break my news a lot of times on Twitter. Both handles are the same. It's Roblet O'Fire, ROBLET O'Fire. And yeah, man, like, that's it for me. I appreciate you having me on, dude. It was a great first time. I really hope we can do this again sometime soon.
We definitely will. I want to talk more shit with you about Nancy Pelosi and all these other people, man, because I know you're sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. We should all be sick and tired of it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of HMO Podcast. This is a segment called The Breakdown. We are out. Bang! My guy or gal, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and share this video for the latest on sports, progressive politics, and pop culture. Slap!